Live, presented by Freighter and the Medical College of Wisconsin. And you're looking inside Madison Square Garden, which has become a bit of a house of horrors for the Milwaukee Bucks so far this season. This afternoon, 140 to 106. The Knicks taking down the Milwaukee Bucks to 34 points, the largest loss of the season for Milwaukee. It's a good start by Giannis and company, keeping things close in that first quarter. Giannis with 13 of his 24 points coming in that first quarter. But while we're talking the first, how about Jalen Brunson with an incredible 23 points in that first frame, and Karl Anthony Towns also chipping in with a big first half. Both of them combining for 74 points in the Knicks win over the Milwaukee Bucks. Stephen Watson here inside the studio, 140 points, the most the Bucks have allowed this season. I mentioned 34-point loss is the largest of the year. Not a whole lot of ways to sugarcoat this one out in Manhattan. So let's go out to the Big Apple. Steve Novak, hopefully he has a way to summarize what went wrong for the Milwaukee Bucks. But Steve, it seems pretty simple. Jalen Brunson was just simply a problem for the Bucks. Yeah, he was a problem, and he's shown that in the past as well. He really is an all-star level player and can score in so many ways that it does make it tough. But on a night, an afternoon like this, I really do think the difference was, look, this is a Knicks team that really has been struggling. They had lost 4 of their last 5 games. Jalen Brunson has not been shooting the ball well. He's actually been struggling heavily, only made 7 threes, I think, in the last 15 games. And so for him to come out and have a response like this and to play individually the way he did, I think obviously is a big part of what happened, but so is why this Knicks team as a team came out and did what they did. Close shoot around this morning, definitely trying to figure some things out. You got Jalen Brunson just playing through contact, getting buckets from literally the first possession of the game on, and just taking his time, getting to his spots, and really he's a knockdown shooter. You're seeing he can score from in the paint, up on the glass, taking contact, hitting threes, handling it in the pick and roll. And so because he's able to do it in so many ways, it just makes him such an elite player. Yeah, Habish and Rotier numbers that matter. 44 points in 29 minutes for Jalen Brunson this afternoon, going 16 of 26 from the floor, had 27 of his 44 in the first half. And also important to note that he drew 5 fouls on Bucks guards in that first half when they were already shorthanded at that position. And then the other big offensive threat that we saw the last meeting between these two teams, Karl Anthony Towns, Steve, goes for 30 points as that duo combining for 74 in this game. And Brunson, it was all about him in the first quarter, but really the game started to get out of hand in the second quarter thanks to a 13-point quarter from Cat. It's our Menards big money moment.
Yeah, he is a problem as well, and it's because of his versatility. It's the same as Jalen Brunson. They're not the same player, but obviously when you've got a big fella like Cat who can shoot the 3-ball, he's also won an NBA 3-point contest. The guy can score in the post and put it on the floor as well, and you saw it all on display tonight. He really is the kind of player that can change games, like you said, having that 13-point quarter in the second quarter absolutely blew this game open. And Campaign obviously got going later in the game making threes, but it was Jalen Brunson, it was Cat, it was these guys, and those 18 rebounds that don't get talked about as much, they really do impact the game. And so obviously seeing what he's done to the Milwaukee Bucks the last 2 matchups, 32 points the last time they matched up on November 8th, 27 of which came in the first half, really blew the game open in that game. And again, I think to your point, in this second quarter, really doing a good job for this Knicks team, scoring a ton of points, and obviously just a threat and creating a big problem for the Milwaukee defense. And so really on display what makes him so good as a big fella this afternoon.
Well, Steve, I know that the rims were very kind to you at Madison Square Garden, but they have not been to Milwaukee so far this year. They shot just 29% from 3. They shot 23% in the first meeting. Much more to come here on Bucks Live, presented by Freighter and the Medical College of Wisconsin. We'll talk about one guy who was shooting the rock pretty well for Milwaukee, Chris Middleton and company. We'll talk about him and, of course, Giannis coming up on Bucks Live. .140 to 106, the final at Madison Square Garden this Sunday afternoon as the Bucks drop the first 2 meetings with the New York Knicks in the regular season series. They have just one more meeting this year coming up at Fiserv Forum. Stephen Watson here inside the studio for Bucks Live. Steve Novak at MSJ. He was on the call of this afternoon's game between these two teams. And Giannis Antetokounmpo, 24 points, 13 rebounds in this game, 31 minutes of action. Steve, just curious what you made of his outing.
Yeah, and obviously you're hoping always for more in a game that ends up the way that this one did. Obviously you think about what Jalen and Kat did, and you just assume that Giannis can counter all of that and work some magic, but unfortunately not enough in this one. But obviously just another impressive effort from him as far as his level of consistency and the ability to just attack and get to his spots and do what he wants to do. But you could tell they were throwing a lot of bodies at him, and at some point in the game you could tell that finger did get irritated. It seemed like he kind of changed his approach from attacking and trying to dunk on guys to kind of just flipping it up and not being quite as aggressive as we saw him in that Orlando game. So him with another solid game, which we would certainly come to expect. But we've seen some awesome Giannis moments at Madison Square Garden. We unfortunately did not get to see a great finish in this one just because New York was scoring so many points and Milwaukee really not able to keep up in this one. So not the big sparkling moment from Giannis we were all hoping for. Late game, a big-time mid-range game winner or something like that.
Yeah, his 31st game of the year. This is the first game that he actually shot below 500 from the floor, 50% from the floor. Chris Middleton was way above 50%, Steve, and he's embracing this new role coming off the bench. Good to see the efficient numbers up for him.
Yeah, it really has been efficient. And look, when you're going 7 for 9 from the field, that's exactly the Chris Middleton that we're used to and that we want to see. And I think you just think back to his best stretch of this season was when he had 7 straight games where he scored in double digits, and he was scoring in the 20s in some of those, and really just showing that he's back to himself, he's getting healthy, and really the Chris Middleton that we know is that 20-point, 5 or 6 assists, 5 or 6 rebounds guy. And so I think him working back off the bench now and coming in and impacting the team that way, I think it really is important, especially because it gives this team more depth with a Bobby Portis and an A.J. Green and those guys in that second wave. And so I just think him continuing to get comfortable and having games like this that shows it's a good fit for him, and he's able to come in these games and make some shots the way he did, 7 for 9, and having himself a good afternoon. It really is important, especially with him coming off the bench and getting used to that role.
Yeah, only $3 in double figures this afternoon. Giannis, Dame had 22, and Chris Middleton with 16. Doc Rivers is on the other side as we get closer to the finish of Bucks Live, presented by Freighter and the Medical College of Wisconsin. The head coach following a tough loss in Manhattan. Coming up next. 140-106 is the final this afternoon in New York City as the Bucks' 3-game winning streak is snapped against the Knicks. Here's head coach Doc Rivers.
He's really good. No, but he's a good player, so we're not guarding him well. We haven't done well with him in 2 games. Haven't guarded Towns well. I mean, they shot 58%, so it wasn't just Jalen. I mean, the whole team, 44 from the 3, 58 from the 2. We've been terrific defensively, and we were awful tonight. So, I don't know what it is about Jalen. I haven't really studied it enough, but it's so funny. We were shooting 53% in the first 4 minutes of the fourth, and I thought offensively we were horrendous, and we were still shooting 53%. But when you're taking the ball out more than half the time for the entire game, it's going to be tough to run great offense. And I thought eventually it caught up to us.
I was going to say, it felt like in that second quarter, it was 6 or 7, and then you guys had gone, I think, 4 minutes with 4 points.
Yeah.
Did you feel like the offense is kind of where you guys lost touch there?
No, I mean, they scored 39 points. Yeah. So I would say defensively we lost touch. I mean, their lowest scoring quarter was the 4th when they took the whole team out, and they still scored 32. So, but I still will say I didn't think our offense was very good tonight.
The fact that Jay was able to draw 5 fouls in the first quarter, how did that maybe have a ripple effect to a degree?
Yeah, it had an impact. We didn't have 2 of our better defensive guards tonight. And, if you think about who we would have had on Jalen, the 2 guys who set were the other 2 guys. So that helped. But, we still have to play through that, We put A.J. Green in a tough spot. Dre just overcommitted on too much stuff in the first 5 minutes. You know, he had 3 fouls in 5 minutes or whatever, and 2 of them were just bad fouls, to be honest. You know, that has a ripple effect when you don't have a lot of depth because your 2 guards are out.
And I guess like offensively then, so then AJ can't really play maybe the minutes you want, right, to get up threes, and then you don't have Gary.
Listen, we had 16 threes, I think, at halftime. That's not enough for us. That's an indication that the ball's not moving as much as it is who we had on the floor.
You take a couple quick timeouts to start the second half.
Yeah.
Were there specific things that you guys have maybe?
No, they just scored it 4 straight times, and we turned it over twice. So the game was still in the balance. Right after that, I think we cut it to like 16, and then we had like 3 turnovers in a row. But, you know, so you do that. I would have used them all if I had to, because if you can get back in the game somehow, you got a chance. I was just trying to get our guys to see that they had a chance to win the game, and we never got to that point.
You guys have played
Yeah.
All right, still to come on Bucks Live. Head back to Fiserv Forum for 4 in a row. Begin for the Kings on Tuesday night. We'll preview it coming up. $140-106, the final this afternoon in New York as the Knicks take the regular season series against the Milwaukee Bucks. Both the wins coming in New York. Now they head back to Fiserv Forum on Tuesday night to take on the Sacramento Kings. It begins a 4-game homestand for Milwaukee, welcoming Domantas Sabonis and company into town. Sabonis, with averaging just shy of 21 points per game, leads the NBA in double-doubles this season with 34 of them this year. And it's a Kings team that just picked up a 124-119 win over the Chicago Bulls to get back above 500 on the year. De'Aaron Fox, 6th in the NBA in scoring himself. So tough test coming on Tuesday night, a back-to-back. It'll be Tuesday against Sacramento and then the Orlando Magic at Fiserv Forum on Wednesday night. Well, this afternoon, it was all Knicks at Madison Square Garden as Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns combined for 74 points to snap a 3-game winning skid for Milwaukee. We'll see you back here Tuesday night on FanDuel Sports Network for Bucks and Kings.